welcome, my sacred warriors. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening. Today, I'm talking about numbness. I'm talking about the heart. I'm talking about the yellow brick road and the Tin Man. I'm talking about patriarchy. I'm talking about mind control, purpose, dogma, money, sex, power, all of these things. So, tune in. So, this is a really interesting one. I have to sit forward, otherwise, I'm blinded by the light. But I do look golden. Okay, so this is a good one. I had to learn how to unnumb myself from this journey, and this will be a helpful video for women as well, because women may be asking the question, why are men so heartless? Why do they behave so heartless? And I'm going to go into that. But as I put on the thumbnail, this is men are in pain, and I want to start with that because. I'll give you the obvious example. People always point the finger. The latest craze is narcissism. He's a narcissist. He's a narcissist. What do you do when a narcissist does this? How to overcome a narcissist? How to kill a narcissist? Blah 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 blah. But as I say in all my videos, is that in order for me to reach a high level of ascension, of embodiment, of the new rainbow body, which I speak about, and in divine union with my partner, in order to do all of that, I had to take ownership of being a narcissist. And it's no easy feat, and it takes a lot of courage to overcome, but it is possible to heal it. Because when you realize that you are a narcissist, that everyone essentially has some kind of narcissism in them due to hidden deep wounds of unconscious wounding, which can be past lifetime, this lifetime, karmic, akashic. It can be so many different things. And I speak about this throughout all my videos. And everything roots back to avoidance of the heart. And narcissism essentially is the poster child for that because it is toxic shame avoidance. And most of those wounds essentially create the wounds of separation on the heart, which I talk about on my back podcast. The origin of the wound, the original sin, is that when love comes in to heal it, it's like your mother putting when you were younger, putting alcohol on a wound. It's like, why'd you do that? That hurt. Ow, cry, tears. And so when love comes in to heal the wound of separation, there's a tendency for men to blame love. And over the years, you've seen it's gotten worse and worse and worse because of the brainwashing through media. And so essentially, love is demonized, women are demonized, etc., etc. Creation is demonized to the point where men become robots. And this is where I bring in the Tin Man, because women, what happened to the knight in shining armor? Well, he got rusty. He got rusty. And he got stuck in the forest and he couldn't find his way out. How many metaphors do you want? Like the Wizard of Oz, right, is such a profound shamanic story. I'm actually going to write a book about it because it's so profound. It's the journey that my partner Hazel and I went on. And I could go into so much detail, but I'm just going to focus on the Tin Man today because this is about the heart. And in the story, he tries to get his heart back from the wizard. As we realize, he actually has a heart, really, technically, and I'll go into that. But I first want to talk about numbness and disassociation. So this is something I went through. I received a lot of sort of focus out. I received a lot of physical and emotional abuse in my past life, which was this life. I went through a death process, and I've been, for lack of a better term, rebirthed, reborn into my innate, and I'm integrating that. So I call, anything pre 2020 is kind of my past life. And it's very interesting because the more I come into my new body, the less I remember of my old life, but I can still look upon it, which is a bit like going into the Akash. So, and I couldn't have done that without the feminine. And in this story, Dorothy represents that. But let's just focus on my past life, which was my childhood. It was beautiful for a long period until my mother and father had a quite a belligerent divorce. And I'm going to do a video on the law of attraction about how we attract uh, between how we attract love and abundance to how we attract hatred and narcissism and violence and stuff like that. And I can speak about that, but essentially all this numbness and dissociation for me stemmed from neglect, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and sexual abuse. And I want to talk about sexual abuse. Sexual abuse isn't always physical; it can be emotional. Humiliation is a form of sexual abuse because any attack or emotional abuse or physical abuse on a child of innocence is an attack on life force, which is also can be translated in a way as sexual abuse. The example I always use is I've done this a video about dancing with water on why men sexualize women, and I really recommend you watch that video because that really explains what sexual abuse is. But I'll just give you a brief overview of what happened to me when I was a kid. We used to have water balloon fights in our road, and loads of kids used to join in. And I went out one day in my summer shorts. I was 8 years old, and I sat down in front of this girl who I really an older girl just playing with, didn't fancy her, didn't even have ideas like that at 8 years old. And she mocked me because she thought the crumple in my shorts, she thought I had an erection, and she started mocking me, and that created a deep wound where I wasn't able to be myself in front of the feminine and turn up as a man, right? So you can see how that's a wound of sexualization through humiliation. She's sexualized me as an 8-year-old, and she was what 6, 7 years older than me. And this isn't a blame game. It's just that I was, I'll tell you something really sick, which is quite funny because I've seen it so many times, and it's so innocent, but you can see how it's not. I was at a, I was in a countryside at a brewery, sat outside with my girlfriend, and this woman was holding her toddler. He couldn't walk. I don't know how many months old he was, but he couldn't walk. And she was holding his hands. And he just started looking at me and Hazel. And she said, "Oh, sorry, he's a bit of a flirt." And I know that sounds innocent, but I've heard women say that about their children before. It's sexualization. So that's how young it starts, that energetic energy of sexualization. It starts at that age because it starts in the womb. It starts in the womb. It's passed on from generation to generation. And so it's very difficult to heal, very difficult, very difficult. And it leads to perversion. And it's not just the perversion of sexualization, but it's the perversion of justice. And I've spoke about this in previous videos about divine justice and my back podcast about perversion is the perversion of justice is not is your dreams not coming true. So your heart's desires, your health, your wealth, your divine destiny, the reason why you're here, all of these things prevent the justice of that. And divine justice is reclaiming your soul, remembering who you are. I've gone through this process with my partner, and I speak about this is that the if you picture the balancing scales, where the feminine is the heart and the masculine is the feather, you both have to be weigh essentially the same, light as a feather. And the closer you get, the closer you come into divine union and healing the wound separation. But if one of you goes out further, then there's an imbalance like that, and then it can cause separation. But if you're in a twin flame relationship, there's no such thing as separation because you will just try and your best to come closer and closer. And that's what I do with my partner. And so this sexual abuse and perversion creates the this law of attraction for other problems like depression, apathy, and the sexualization isn't just of others or of yourself, it's also the sexualization of the self, which prevents the innocence of your life force and your creation. So that prevents your passion for life coming through, your a purpose for life, and connection with the feminine, which is important because as I've discovered in my life, I didn't want to get out of bed for something that I wasn't in love with. And this was really profound when I came into my current relationship, my divine relationship with my partner Hazel, that I realized that my reason to get out of bed was being in love with her. And if there was any form of separation, any toxic patriarchy, toxic matriarchy, or someone in between trying to get in the way, like the collective stuff that goes on, and anything that gets in the way, can have a negative effect on the innocence, the inner child within that creates the passion. And again, it's linked to sexualization because it prevents life force, and life force isn't sexual. It doesn't have to be sexual at all. It's the energy of creation. But because it's been sexualized for so long, either men are branded by the toxic matriarchy as perverts, or men behave as perverts, or there's so many different versions of how the masculine is not allowed to rise. He's not allowed to be seen in his power and his purity, and he's not recognized. And my partner found it difficult to see this because the patterns of a pure man and an impure man, the main difference is that they look very similar, but they're either upside down or inside out or back to front. And so it looks similar and sounds similar, but it has to come through vibration. It has to come through the heart. And if there's anything in the way of that, it's very difficult for the masculine to be accepted by the feminine. And we're in the summer solstice month at the moment, and this exposes a lot of the white witches that like to come out from the hiding, but they are actually hiding in the light. And I do focus a lot on talking about toxic patriarchy, but the current theme that I'm going through is the cleansing and purification of toxic matriarchy, which is invisible because it hides in the light, whereas the toxic patriarchy is very visible, very visible. It doesn't have to hide. It's just like, yeah, we're whatever, I talk about it so much. And what's happening this month is there's a lot of exposure. Light exposes us and exposes the darkness, but it's this time around it's also going to expose those that are hiding in the light, who are self-righteous, who believe they're greater than others, holier than thou, etc., etc. And it's very difficult to deal with. And this kind of energy prevents this gentle man from coming through. So there's all these projections on men about where are the men? And those men who are pure of heart, who have that ability to embody that Christ consciousness, they're being held back. They're being held back by the toxic feminine because, well, there's so many reasons, but a lot of it is just to do with fear. It's very egoic. And so these gentle men are projected on to be weak or covert or whatever. And then you have the opposite side of men, the malignant men who show no respect for women. I don't follow those kind of men. I'm talking about the kind of men who do respect women but are finding it very difficult to rise. This is the kind of men I'm talking about. These are the men that are in pain, that need help. And on my joint channel with my partner Hazel, Prophecy Walkers, we're going to launch a program to help those kind of people where we're going to send love letters. So if you're interested in signing up for that, if you know someone who needs cheering up, needs a letter, someone who's going through a difficult time, let us know because we're gonna start rolling that out. So numbness and dissociation, yeah. So especially violence creates dissociation. Dissociation is where you're dissociated from pain. And that used to show in my life when I did martial arts. People used to punch and kick me, and I used to just get up and keep fighting through the pain. And people would look at me like, whoa, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I just got a really high pain threshold. But it's dissociation that comes from deep abuse. And the other reasons for dissociation, numbness of the heart that is shown in the masculine is through media violence. It's normalized. Computer games normalize violence, and so it's crept in over the decades through media where we allow more and more violence to the point where it's like it has to be realistic and it has to be people dying. And I was been always been wondering about how Hollywood creates satanic cults, right? I always thought that it was behind closed doors, but it's not. They pay actors to play out. I was watching Indiana Jones, A Temple of Doom, and it's just a whole movie based around a satanic ritual. And I was watching it with Hazel, and we were like, "Oh, this is how they do it." they make people participate with actually not knowing that they're participating. And it's crazy. So that's how it's happening. People are making movies about it, and so they are real. Art is real, and art comes to life. I speak about this all the time. It's what my podcast is about, and what Hazel's all about. And so you think, well, there's all these movies out there, like this horror genre that's growing and growing and growing, and there's all these apocalypse movies and stuff like this. And it's all it is this sabotage of trying to change the collective hive mind into creating something horrible for our future. But all of that's just going to degrade and fall apart, because love always wins. But you can see how this has affected our past and how it's affected the masculine now, where they're completely trying to shut off and close off their heart and go into the mind. And I'm going to talk about that. So I'll go on to the next part, the journey of the Tin Man. So we even get insults about a knight in shining armor. You know, the what was it they call it, the White Knight. You know, even that is he even he's turned into a cuck, and everything now is up for degradation and criticism from just everything, because there's so much separation out there at the moment. But what's going to happen? Everything's going to separate. It's already been separating for God knows how long, and then bam, everything's going to come back together, and it's going to be a huge explosion of love. But the knight in shining armor essentially has become, you know, like the Tin Man in the Wizard of Oz. He's frozen. He's become frozen and rusted in his own shame, in his overwhelm of emotion. You know, this thing about the masculine being weak for crying or showing his emotion. There's even this thing on the internet now called emotional tourism, where people cry to get likes and stuff, and so then it dulls dirties the water, where people who are actually showing true emotion aren't being recognized, or being judged for doing that. And so this shows perfectly is the Tin Woodman. He's rusted, and so he's unable to move, which means his emotions aren't able to move, which, and when the emotions aren't able to move, they're not being purified through the heart. And so the heart is essentially, he can't feel it. He can't feel it because it's not being used. It's the heart has to be used for it to work, you know. And what's interesting is that the Tin Woodman asks for a heart, but he actually already has one. He just lacks the awareness on how to feel it. And that lack of feeling makes men more vulnerable to the manipulations of toxic patriarchy. And by turning them into heartless machines, turn them into robots. You know, I experienced this. I worked in finance for 18 years in London and my hometown. And yeah, they really tried to turn you into a robot, and it's horrible. And the antidote, like I did for the Tin Man, he has to take a journey with the feminine to learn how to reclaim his heart and the purity of creation, because the feminine is creation. So it's also, you know, working with the feminine inside. But in the prophecy of love, you know, the sacred rainbow warrior is divine union, and that's what I'm doing with my partner. I couldn't have got this far without her. And I speak about how much more powerful women are. They're so much more in their heart, whereas the masculine spends too much time in the mind. And we empower thinking, we empower mindfulness, we empower the brain, but it's actually the heart that is holds the true power, because we are a soul inside a body, multi-dimensional, infinite soul, not a brain. Anyway, so yeah, take the journey of the feminine to reclaim how to use his heart. This is what I did, and I've got lots of tips which I'm going to talk about at the end of this, so stick around. Um, the journey to open the heart by journeying with the feminine is challenging, because you have to sit opposite your mirror essentially and confess, feel all of the ways you've betrayed yourself and the feminine. This is what I did. And it's very powerful, because as soon as you've done that, it clears out your system, and love comes in, because you have to remember that none of it's yours, but you have to take responsibility for it. And the Tin Man, back to Tin Man, he feels empty and hollow without a heart, and he wishes to be human. He wishes for his humanity. This is really important, because um, I'm going to talk about this in a minute. I'm going to talk about dogma. I might as well just talk about it now. Right. Dogma is the belief that God is outside of you, but God is inside you because you are a piece of God. That's what the soul is. But it creates an illusion where love is unattainable, it's unrequited, it's outside of you. And so it's essentially the hatred of your own humanity, and dogma is essentially the Antichrist. And I channeled this in my back podcast. I channeled the message from my ancestors about that, the origin of the Antichrist. And it's essentially anti-love, anti-life, because Christ consciousness is the true nature of love. And so the Tin Man wishes for his humanity, which essentially that's the antidote to dogma, to reclaim our humanity, and that's divine justice. So, on to mind control and logic. So, I spoke about the man spending too much time in his mind, and this is exposed through society. Like I said, it promotes it enormously. And mind control is avoidance of the heart, being in control, being in the mind, and logic. I've spoke about this so many times on my channel. If the right side of the brain is the feminine, which is the creative expanse, the ocean, and the left side is the masculine, which is about logic and detail, which is like a cup filled with a little bit of water. And so logic can't grasp the universe, can't grasp the magnificence and the meaning of the heart without the feminine. And because there's been this separation and this war between the masculine and feminine, it creates separation not just in the heart between your masculine and feminine side, but in the brain. And so, if a genius, like a savant or a polymath, the reason they're able to tap into that level of genius is because there is that connection. There's still that connection between masculine and feminine, because in order to be a genius, you need both. You need both, not just one and the other. And you can't have the feminine side if you're in control, because that's a form of slavery. And the problem with being in logic all the time is it leaves out everything. It leaves out the greater expanse. It leaves out the ocean. And that comes from a place of fear, because if you're anything like me, if you're in the middle of the ocean and you jump off a boat, I would be terrified. I would be terrified. And I've had to go through this in my healing. I've had to feel the expanse of the ocean. And that's I tell that story in the episode 16 of my podcast, the Spider Crap, because the expanse of the ocean is the expanse of our emotions, and it's essentially also how big we are, how big our love is, and it can really help us open the heart and keep that flow of emotion going. And I'm going to talk about that in the 8 different techniques on how to open the heart. Another way that closes the heart, apart from being in the mind, which is very easy, is purposelessness, which creates distraction. So my main goal when I started my healing journey was to find my purpose, and I never even understood what that question meant until it actually came to me. And what I was really looking for was my soul purpose, my divine purpose, my destiny, the reason I'm here, not the reason I think I'm here, but the reason my soul is here. And that was difficult to obtain, but I found a method on finding it out quite straightforwardly through animal wisdom. But it's really profound and it's really big. And essentially, the way it works for the masculine and feminine, I'll just speak for myself as a man, is my divine destiny is split into different parts. And when you put them all together, it essentially is the purification and the evolution of being a man, being a man, what it really truly means to be a human, a man of all colors. And it's it's incredible. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. The difficulty is integrating it and accepting it, because it's so much love that we push it away. And this is one of the reasons why the masculine heart is closed. And when we don't have purpose, it creates distraction, and distraction can lead to addictions like, oh yeah, I don't have anything to do tonight, so I'm going to watch Netflix, or I'm going to go out for a beer, or I'm going to play computer games. These are all distractions from making our dreams come true, grinding through the difficulties, like, for example, learning an instrument. It's not easy. Learning something new is not easy from scratch, but if it's something we know we would love to do through our heart's desires, it's something that is worth putting the effort in to learn. But it is very challenging, and this is why I teach about integration, because integration is the key. And integration isn't just to do with plant medicine, it's to do with any big changes in your life. So if you want to work with me, just check out my website. It's in the notes. I've spoken about dogma. So the heart is closed from fear of love. Yeah. So I speak about this all the time with my partner, how love has been demonized because of what I said at the beginning, how when love comes in to heal separation, it hurts. And so we've learned through Antichrist and programming from society that love is to be demonized, that love is to be blamed. And you can see this throughout society when there's a hoo-ha. And what that does internally is it causes us to listen to the ego and push away love, which is extremely toxic and prevents us from growing, creates stagnation, and it stops us from being our divine selves and remembering who we are. And remembering who we are is the antidote to everything. It's just incredible. And it's really the only thing worth chasing is remembering who you are, because when you remember who you are, everything is love, everything makes sense, and you come into divine purpose. It's just, I don't know words for it. It's incredible. Bathe in the vibration of love. I'm going to touch on toxic shame and narcissism. So I'm big on this because I spent so much time healing it, but narcissism is the root of all evil, if you want to call it that. It's the root of all avoidance of love. And it promotes stagnation. It promotes time wasting, the de-evolution of humanity. We're hundreds of years, if not thousands of years behind our time because of narcissism. But also it's made us stronger, and we can use that to our advantage to make up for lost time, and that's what I will be doing. But toxic shame creates a shield around the heart of lies. Um, Narcissism creates reactions and triggers to love. So it pushes away love. And I speak about triggers all the time. Triggers should be owned and learned from, because the trigger is showing you what needs to be healed. And if you shout at someone for triggering you, you're missing the whole point. Money, sex, power. So this is a good one, right? This is what the toxic patriarchy lives on. It's what it promotes, money, sex, power, right? And there's all these people trying to attain money and sex and power. Destruction, all it is this triangle, this up, so, like the Miroslav triangle, but it's upside down. Everybody's going the wrong way, digging in the wrong way. Money and sex gives the power to destroy through your egoic desires. And the antidote is creation. So we turn the triangle the right way up, and we head in towards the light instead of the distortions of the ego. The antidote is creation. Creating wealth and love empowers us to create and fulfill our heart's desires. And creation gives us energy rather than stealing it, because the old way of the toxic patriarchy is vampiric. It steals and withdraws energy, and we know how that happens, through all that dark stuff. So money, sex, and power is the opposite way to open the heart. The best way to open the heart is through creation, because creation heals the sexualization of our life force. It allows the innocence to come through. I do a lot of art behind the scenes with my partner, and I put videos of that on Prophecy Walkers about how art is such a beautiful expression of our innocence. And when we allow that to grow, those expressions become more and more profound, and just, no words again. It's just brilliant. So let's move on to 8 techniques that I have learned on my journey that will help you open your heart. Number 1, grief. Grief is an incredible portal for opening the heart. And grief doesn't only come from someone dying. It's quite, that could be quite rare in someone's life, that they may not have lost someone close to them to grieve. Grief is about what we have lost, what we've lost on our by ourselves, what we've lost in relationships, and what we've lost as a collective. And when we go deep enough inside, there's a lot of wounds that can show up, not even from this lifetime. And so there's plenty to grieve. Like I had to grieve the death of my old life and not being able to make my dreams come true so that I could move on and create my dreams now in this lifetime. And the what I spoke about this in my walk-ins video. What a walk-in is essentially the ego walks out, well, it dies because you sacrifice it, and the soul walks in, and that's when integration comes in. And integration is creation, and one of those is movement, and the internal movement of emotion is grief. Crying is the heart pushing the tears. It's pushing the tears out. It's the purification. It's pushing the water out. It's cleaning the water. The tears are just a beautiful expression of feeling the heart. I really enjoyed on my journey feeling my heart again, which meant I cried a lot. And there's different techniques I found to feel that grief. I would tune into old songs. I would look at pictures of old memories. And I worked with plant medicine a lot to uncover those deep wounds. Number two, creation, as I've been talking about. So it's important to learn something that really attunes to your joy in your heart, not that someone else has forced you to do. So, like creating from the heart and learning your own signature of your own art and not trying to fit in to what style should be used or what other people are doing, and to follow your own intuition and create your own passionate form of art, whether that is through drawing, through producing music, singing, whatever form of creation it is. Learn something new and stick with it. And that will essentially help you integrate past the layers of ego to feel closer to your heart, to feel closer to yourself and your inner child. And there might be times when you just burst into tears because that's what it does. It's happened to me so many times where I've been writing, like when I channel my podcasts, I cry so much because it opens up lost memories that I'd forgotten about, and that comes with grief. And grief isn't something to be like, oh, grief. Grief is beautiful. It opens your heart and love just floods in, this flood of love. Number three, solitude. Do something for yourself that you love and do it on your own, and make that a weekly thing or a monthly thing. Try to create a reward. I tried to reward myself with a movie like once a week on a Friday night or something, or a party with my partner where we celebrate. Or I might go away for a walk in the forest, in complete solitude. And that's a really beautiful way of just coming into your own energy. And that silence allows us to do that because speaking all the time can disturb the vibrations of feeling life, feeling your body, and coming back into the heart and out of the mind. Number four, listening to music. So music is a really great heart opener, and I don't just mean standing, walking around. I mean like really lying on your bed and like just giving yourself some time to listen to some songs you love, and you can travel through memories, or you can travel through the art of the music, and can trigger some deep wounds. My only recommendations is that you don't listen to dark songs, listen to songs that have an intention of love. Anger is okay. Like there's also I use songs to help me overpower the ego, like that song by the Foo Fighters, Pretender. It's about telling the ego that the ego is the pretender, and that's a really rageful song, but it's a rageful passion of standing and fighting for love. So there's different ways of listening to music to open the heart. You can open the heart through grief, but also through anger and rage, and through joy as well. And that leads me on to number six, dancing. Dancing can be very difficult because of this energy of humiliation, which is linked to sexualization. Again, listen to the video I did about dancing with water. It's about dancing and how the masculine sexualizes the feminine and therefore sexualizes himself, which means you get these stiff men who are like, oh no, I don't want to dance, I don't want to get up on the dance floor. And it's from that deep wound of self-sexualization. But when we just let go, I started doing it on my own in my room, just dancing, and then in front of my partner when I got the courage. It becomes really sacred. And when you let go and let loose and just dance however you want to dance, just get it all out of you, you can start to release ego and come into profound alignment with your heart and soul. And this can open elation, it can open the heart, it can also stir up grief. And then that can lead you to go into number six, which is meditation of the heart, not mindfulness, heartfulness. Do your meditation into the heart, grounded meditation, and stretch yourself by receiving from the divine and receiving from Gaia, and just come into the heart, feel the heart. Stop trying to expand into nothingness and everythingness and oneness. Just be here, be in your heart, and feel yourself. It's really important to do that. And because when you've forgotten what your heart feels like, you have to feel that vibration and learn that vibration again. I found that very difficult myself. And it took me a while to tune into that. And I realized it's because I already was that I found it difficult to tune into that. So there was a huge amount of ignorance and neglect. So don't rush it, it takes time. Number seven, exercise. I speak about this a lot. Move the energy out of you. Exorcise, exorcism. You're exercising your demons out of your body. Go for that run. When it's especially difficult, that's when you keep going and just don't be afraid to scream that pain out. Ah! And do different forms of exercise. Just move it about, like dancing. That's a form of exercise. Running, calisthenics, weight training, yoga, whatever. Just keep it moving. Swimming, even bowling. Just being in life, climbing. Just being in life is exercise. Don't be straddled and strapped to a desk every day. Number eight, final one, higher self journaling. Higher self journaling is very good because and you can practice. I speak about this before. You can have two work documents or two pieces of paper, and if you're trying to channel but only horrible stuff's coming out, that's probably ego. So just put it on the ego paper, and then when you've done that and you've had your purge, come to the nice stuff, and just say what comes through. Just start typing, and then if you can, touch type, just start allowing it to come through. And you can ask yourself questions. So you can say, "Dear higher self," or "Dear soul," and you can ask it questions. And at first, it might go, "Oh, well, I already knew that. Like, why are you telling me that?" And it's like, it's because you are your higher self and you are your soul. And but it's profound. If you leave it for a few days or weeks or months or years, you come back to it and go, "Wow, that's so profound." But at the time, you're like, "Well, yeah, but I already knew that." But it's because you're in that energy and you don't realize that you're in your own energy. So keep practicing that. It's really good fun. And if you need any more tips, I've got plenty more. Please get in touch. Please work with me privately, sacredrainbowwarrior.com. Please make donations. This is my full-time job, and me and my partner are going to be bringing you some wonderful things. I would be able to bring you more, but I need more watch hours in order to open up the YouTube membership. So please like, share, and subscribe my videos because I am bringing some wonderful content. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.